Well, good afternoon. It's Crazy Cheap Chick, and tonight I am going to make some white chili. It is super cold, rainy, drizzly, miserable, supposed to snow tonight. And so I just think some white chili sounds really good for dinner. I haven't made any in a while, and we're not going to use one of those silly commercial packages of white chili mix seasoning. There's no need to spend $2 or $3 on that because it's about 10 cents worth of spice, and I'm going to show you how to do it, and you can save that money. So let's get cooking some white chili. I put a little olive oil in this pan, and I'm going to start just by sauteing some onions. And I'm going to take a couple of chicken breasts and bake those in the oven at about 350. It'll probably take about an hour. Those look pretty good. So now I'm just going to add in a box of chicken broth. Woo! That was exciting. Or you could use 2 cans, about the same amount. And I've also peeled and diced 4 small potatoes. So we can go ahead and add these in. So as you can see, the potatoes are about 3/4 cooked. They're not mushy, but they're mostly cooked. Now I'm going to add a can of white corn, and I'm going to add a can of Great Northern beans. You could use pinto beans if you wanted, or you can use whatever kind of bean you like. And we're going to wait for the chicken to cook, and I'm going to get the spices ready. It's a super easy meal, much like just regular chili. And if you wanted to stretch it, feed more people, add more beans or add more potatoes. You could even thin it out with a little water or add another box of chicken stock. I don't buy those commercial packages of chili mix. I just make my own. It costs pennies. Instead of paying $2 or $3 for those little packets of pre-mixed seasoning, you probably have everything you need to make your own, and it just takes a second to put it together. So this is garlic powder, heaping teaspoon. This is a couple of teaspoons of cumin. This is a heaping teaspoon of oregano. This is a teaspoon of garlic powder. So we have onion and garlic powder. This is about a teaspoon of chili powder. It's real mild because I can't handle a lot of spice. This is cilantro, about a teaspoon. And this is cornstarch. And probably those mixes have a little bit of sugar in them. If you want to add a little bit of sugar, or if you want to add salt and pepper, you can. But that's your basic mix. And then you're just going to stir it up and add it to your chili. And we've got the chili ingredients all in there, except for the chicken. I'm going to go ahead and add the seasoning. And you can add a can of tomatoes if you want. That kind of makes it pink chili. I like it that way. Some people want a true white chili. That tastes pretty fabulous. I think I'm going to add about a cup of water, though, just to thin it out a little bit, because it'll cook down. And once the chicken's done, I'll chop up the chicken and put the chicken in, and I probably am going to add a can of tomatoes. If you wanted to make this really good, add a can of Rotel. That'll give it some kick. But at my age, I can't handle the kick. And so I'm just going to use no salt added tomatoes. The high blood pressure. And goes the tomatoes. So the only thing left is chicken once it gets done. Clean spoon. Yeah, it looks good. The chicken's all chopped up, and we are just going to add it in. Easy peasy. It's a lot of chicken. 2 breasts. Now we will get way more. I mean, this is enough to feed a family. So for the two of us, I'll either have to freeze it or we'll have to eat it for multiple meals. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and add in that broth from the chicken. And now I'm going to add some half and half. This is just Walmart brand. I don't measure it, but oh, that's probably a cup and a half. More than that is healthy for me, for sure. And the final thing that I'm going to add is also not real healthy, but it makes this especially delicious. I am going to add a half a stick of butter. And you can put some pepper in if you like. Oh, that's quite a bit. And some salt. Yeah, that might be a little bit too much pepper. I may take a little bit out. That's why I always say it's easier to add it than to take it out, because now I'm in that position, but I think it'll be okay. Yeah, it'll be fine. Now we just got to cook it. I do want to taste it though and see how the flavor is. Okay, I'm going to taste it. Oh man, that's exceptional. That turned out better than expected. Pepper's fine. Now, I did have a bit of an incident with the pepper, not just pouring too much in there. I dropped the pepper. So here we go. There's the trail of pepper I made. So now I gotta go get the broom and clean that up. So that's how an expert does it. Well, thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end. As always, I really do appreciate it. You know, I have been making YouTube videos for a little less than a year, and sometimes I get a little discouraged. It seems like it will be almost impossible to ever reach 1,000 subscribers. And a friend of mine said, you know, just do it for fun. Do it to leave your recipes to your family and to entertain yourself. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm just enjoying making the videos. And if you enjoy the videos, I get a kick out of it when someone gives me a like or leaves me a comment or subscribes. We live out on a farm. We call it brightbridgefarm. And we have all kinds of fun out here. Now, right now, when it's cold and gloomy and nasty, we're doing a lot of cooking. But pretty soon, spring's going to be here. And then we're going to be doing a lot more fun things than just cooking. So come along, be our guest. Come on out to Brightbridge Farm, and I'll put a few scenes at the end of this video. Have a great evening. Kind of a cold, miserable, wet day, isn't it? I know. I wanted to show you the very well-defined trail that has been made by the deer and the fox that I see run up here every day. Probably a bunch of other animals as well, but they've created themselves quite the path here. Come on, Sparky. And this spring we're going to have to cut down that tree that got wedged in there that drifted down the creek. We get gifted a tree or two every winter. I really just wanted to walk up here to see if we got enough rain to add any to the pond. I don't think so. We just got this pond cleaned out, I think it was back in November. And so it's going to take the spring rains to get enough rain to fill it.